Had you thought about what you were going to say if the Rangers won the World Series last year?
I had thought about it, not specifically scripted, but some of the phrases that I was going to use, and they were actually, after the Rangers took that lead to the bottom of the ninth inning, in the break between the top of the ninth and the bottom of the ninth, I scribbled down a couple of things to make sure that I wasn't going to forget them, and never got to use them. And at the end of the World Series, threw out that piece of paper and wished I'd never written anything on it.
Did you go back and listen to any of your calls from Game 6?
Absolutely not. I do not want to hear it. I think it would be too painful. I know there was definitely a frustrated, pained expression in my voice, especially the ball that Nelson Cruz didn't catch off David Freese's bat that tied the game in the ninth inning. And then in the 10th inning, the Cardinals tied it on a really cheap hit. It's baseball, but, a little blue hit fell in. And I don't want to hear it.
At a moment like that, when you're just as emotionally crushed as the fans are, what lessons have you learned about how to remain professional on the air even when you don't feel like it?
Well, you just have to maintain your composure, and, I'm someone who doesn't root openly on the air. My listeners know who I'm rooting for. That's pretty obvious by my tone of voice. But you can't let it get to you, and especially, in those moments, the game had to continue. The game was now tied in both of those cases, and there was still the opportunity that the Cardinals could have won the game in that inning. So, you've got to remain focused on the next pitch, the next play, even though in the back of your mind, and maybe even in the front of your